Hi, Peter Charles here of Fly Fishing, and this is the last video in the single hand spey casting series. This time we're going to look at the Circle Spey, and it is a replacement for the single spey. So you can use either the single spey or the Circle Spey in the same situation. We're going to use this with an upstream wind, so the wind blows the anchor away from us and we're placing the anchor upstream. We do that in both the single spey and in the Circle Spey. But the Circle Spey is like the double spey, and it gives you time to think. It's these separate motions. You can do the Circle Spey, you've got time to think about what's going on. So it also makes it, like the double spey, it makes it an easy cast to learn. It's also the mirror of the double spey. So if you're on one side of the river or on the other side of the river, and you're doing the double and the circle, they look very much alike, except for the initial lift and the placement of the anchor. The rest of the cast is the same. So if you've learned one, you can usually quickly adapt and learn the other. So let's check out the Circle Spey. Okay, the last cast I want to demonstrate is called the Circle Spey, and it does the same job as the single spey. The single spey is done when the wind is coming upstream of you. It's blowing your line that way, so you want your anchor over there, so it's down, the anchor is downwind of you, so the wind is pushing the anchor away from you. Okay, I'm going to do this cast on the left side of my body. If I was to do it with my right hand side, with my right hand, I would be on the other side of the creek. On this side of the creek, I have to do it in the left side of my body. So again, I start with my rod tip low, pointing downstream, and I make a nice big wide circle, and I plant my anchor over there. And then I make my D-loop, and I make my cast. So let's break that down. Just like any other cast, I've got my line downstream, I'm on the dangle, my rod tip is low. I make a lift, a big high circle, and then I put my rod tip back where I started from. You can see my rod tip is pointing back downstream again, and it put my anchor over there. So let's do that again. Came up, made a nice big wide circle, and put my rod tip back there, and my anchor landed over there, which is where we want it. We want it upstream of me, an downwind if we had an upstream wind. Today we don't have any wind, so we don't have to worry about it. So I will just simply make a nice high lift, nice and slow, bring my rod tip, there's my fly, then I bring my rod tip around and I make my cast. And just like other casts, wherever I point my toe, that's how it's going to go. So just like in the double spey, I wait for the leader to straighten before I start going forward. That's your timing indicator. When that leader goes from this way to that way, that's the time to send the fly on its way. So I'll just straighten that out. We got some frog water down here. So you make a high lift, bring it around. So you can see I can do it on both sides of my body, which is very valuable when you have a wind in the wrong direction or you've got obstacles that prevent you from doing it on your right side. You can get away with doing it on your left side. So nice high lift, slow, make a circle, anchor lands there, rod is pointing back downstream again, then you bring your rod around. I have to watch out for that. There's an example of one of the problems. The current is bringing the fly to me. If I wait too long, that anchor, instead of being over there, will be here. And then when I make my cast, I can get my line crossing and even hooking myself, which is not a good thing. So high lift. Now when you get in this position, don't wait too long. Get the cast going. In this position too, you could also, talking about the other side of your body, you could also make a single spey in this position too, off the other side of your body. So you can do a lot of different casts from this position using both sides of your body. So bring it up, make your D-loop, make your forward cast. Simply enough. So you can see the Circle Spey and the single spey operate in the same situation. We have an upstream wind, we place our anchor downwind of ourselves, which means in this case upstream. It's nice and safe, the wind is going to blow it away from us. and we can make our cast. So whether we're using the Circle Spey or the single spey, it does the same job in this position. The advantage of the single spey, it tends to be a bit more powerful cast, and it's a quieter cast. You have less splashing going on, and just had a hit. You have less splashing going on, so you're less likely to spook fish. So if I just bring that up into the single spey, you can see it's a quiet cast. So, Circle Spey. Nice high lift, put the anchor upstream of you, straighten the anchor out, make the cast. And you notice I'm not rushing and I'm not using a lot of energy or a lot of power. These are casts don't require you to bash them or thrash them around. They'll work just fine the way they are. Shall we go catch a fish? Okay, there's the Circle Spey. Not an awful lot to it. The thing to keep in mind, it's for an upstream wind. You place your anchor upstream. The only safety thing you have to be aware about, especially if you're in fast current, is the current will bring the anchor closer to you. So you don't want to dilly-dally too much. When you've placed the anchor, get the cast off. Don't sit around and admire it or looking at the wildlife, because that current is bringing that anchor closer to you, and you could easily snag yourself when you're making your cast. And you saw in that video, I was busy talking, my anchor was getting closer and closer to me. When I made the cast, I had to duck a little bit. You know, that's the reality of it. If you mess around too much, watching things, watching the wildlife and all that kind of stuff, you can get into trouble. But as I've said before, with the double spey and other casts, watch your anchor with this one. Know where the anchor goes. That's important, because it could end up in the wrong spot and you could end up sticking a hook in yourself. So make sure that anchor has gone upstream of you and you know where it is. Keep your eyes on that anchor and you'll do well. So that's the last of the cast in this series. I hope you find them useful, and get out and try it. It's not that hard. As I said before, it's a lot easier to learn to spey cast with one hand than it is to learn how to spey cast with two. Plus our distances are short. We don't have to worry about monstrous distance. You know, we're doing typical 20, 30, 40-foot casts, you know, and they're easy to pull off. So give it a try, single hand spey casting. It'll open up a whole new range of fishing for you. You'll be able to fish in all sorts of situations you weren't able to fish in before, and that's what makes it fun. Cheers.